What I think a lot of people will say to this so far is that, like, of course they want to go back and just feel like a baby and just not pay attention to what's going on in the world and not take a stand for anything. But they have to. They have, like, for the sake of all the lives that are being threatened, they have to pay attention to what's going on in the world and they have to take a stand and fight for what they believe in.
Why? So you can copy that suffering onto others? Like fight for what you believe in? Like I believe in this, so why don't, and it's caused me lots of suffering and resistance and insistence and disease. So I want to make sure everybody knows that this is the truth so they can also suffer. Why fight for what you believe in?
Well, people start to fight for what they believe in a environment where everyone else is already fighting for what they believe in. So it's not that they know the alternative is, oh, if I don't fight for what I believe in, it's just completely peaceful and we're living in utopia. It's like everybody's out there fighting for what they believe in. I now have to fight for what I believe in to have a shot at changing the world or making a difference. And going back to feeling like a baby and thinking and just ignorantly blissing out, well, the world is going to shambles would be completely irresponsible.
Well, I'm saying this from a more of an end station, end game perspective of having followed this thread that I'm beginning to lay out in this podcast. But when you follow this thread, you might end up saying something similar to this, which is you'd be surprised how effective it would be at changing the world if everyone became ignorant again, like a baby, innocent, blissful, happy for no reason, but other than giving up its insistence upon all of its points of view and its perspectives and unburdening itself by unknowing everything that it's been accumulating throughout its life in terms of perspectives and concepts. And I understand most people equate this to giving up their free will or giving up their rights or giving up their intelligence and like becoming a dumber version of themselves. But I think I'm smarter than I ever was before as a result of this process. It may not seem like, it doesn't seem like I've unknown the things that I've known, because I can talk about all kinds of concepts and topics and have a fairly intelligent dialogue most of the time if I want to. So it doesn't mean that we lose our capacity for intellectual capabilities. It just means that there's no insistence. There's no energetic, emotional insistence. We don't need belief systems for the most part. In the ways that people use belief systems, we don't need that in order to be happy, to be functional, to be wise, to be smart, to be clever, to be balanced, to be loving, to be caring, to take care of things, to prevent certain things from happening, to ensure other things do. All that is logical and common sense. What we mix up is we think intelligence means emotional charge. We think it means emotional content. We think that intelligence means we have to fight something, we have to believe in something, we have to feel the pain of it and so forth. But we don't. And I'm only saying this because I have suffered a lot in my own psychology. So that gave me a perfect opportunity to dissect it and to get to the bottom of it. So I'm not saying it from a state of not knowing what it's like to be completely lost in an emotional tunnel of darkness and depression and what have you. I know what that's like. And so I understand, but it's not the solution, and it doesn't lead to intelligence, and it doesn't lead to happiness, and it only leads to more warfare. So for me, from the place that I'm looking at things from currently, my current state of being, I'd say you'd be surprised how effective it is if people become more baby-like. Energetically, it doesn't mean you lose all capacity. Like, oh, what's it? A grocery store? I've never seen a grocery store before. Your common sense is still available. Your conceptual memory data bank is still available. But the way that you approach it is from a state of innocence, not knowing, not being so confident in what you think you know, being more confident in the openness that there is much more intelligence available and all you have to do is be absolutely open to it and receptive. And you can't be receptive if you think you know what you know is the truth. That's insistence. That's digging your heels in. That's creating the resistance between the wave and the rest of the water surrounding it. So again, the intelligence of the rest of this intelligence that surrounds us and permeates us, unseen, metaphysically speaking, is, again, that friction is what's generating emotions. So every time I insist upon a point of view that's not in alignment with the truth of the intelligence of something that far supersedes, the intelligence of something that far exceeds my rational intellectual capacity. Because I didn't create the stars with my conscious mind. I didn't use my intellectual conceptualizing capabilities and put planet Earth in its perfect orbit, right? Did you? Did you? Maybe. I don't know that. Good. Do you? No. So, right, have limited, all we have, what we call intelligence, is simply the ability to respond to what we see in a third dimensional way, sometimes fourth dimensional to a degree, and react and respond and form images about what we perceive. All we can do is react to this current manifestation that we have. And then we believe in that so much that we're blinded to the fact that that's not really the source of intelligence. It's not really the way to be intelligent. The way to be intelligent is to be a conduit, to be a vessel, to be empty of our own knowledge, to not eat the apple from the tree of knowledge, to stay innocent, to stay in the state of unknowing, perpetual humility, inward humility and outward humility, to the point where this intelligence can begin to inform us, through us, because we become an empty vessel. We become a wave that's not resisting its direction. And so it's reaching the shore in perfect timing. Every motion is in perfect rhythm, in rhythmic harmony with its wholeness. Wholeness is intelligence. Separation is dumbness or ignorance. And it's causing emotional, psychological, and physical pain. Because we act based on this emotional energy. And then we inflict our emotional energy in the form of physical energy towards others because we don't know how to deal with it. Because we think we know what we know. We think we're right. Righteousness is humanity's greatest burden and obstacle at this point. So innocence is exactly what we need. Unknowing what we know is exactly what we need.